All right, guys, thank you for joining us. This is Paul Wilson.
And Chris Emke.
And you're listening to the Diesel Performance Podcast. We have a special co-host today, Chris Searle from Diesel Performance Industry Expo and Ultimate Callout Challenge. Mr. Searle, how the hell are you?
I'm doing well. How are you guys doing?
Doing great, man. Doing great.
Great.
It is Friday, June 5th. We're recording this. We're going to put it live today. I know we just had some announcements come out about scheduling the Callout Challenge and the DPI Expo, so we definitely want to get into that. Two of the other vendors who have been there every year of Ultimate Callout Challenge, of course, are Exergy Performance and Worley Custom Fabrication, WC Fab. If you guys haven't had a chance and you've never heard the show before, that seems crazy to me that you're jumping in here, but we love it. Thank you for coming along. Definitely go and check out Exergy Performance, check out WC Fab. You'll see top of the line products from the most reliable people that we know to work with. So with that aside, Chris Searle, let's talk about it, man. UCC was scheduled for initially back in May. That had gotten pushed back. We had you on the show. We talked about kind of moving the schedule back and following all of the guidelines of what was allowed and what wasn't throughout the COVID crisis. But we just got some more updates, and I was hoping you could kind of share what's going on, and we'll talk a little bit about why it's happening.
Sure, yeah. So you are correct. We did after the pandemic hit us, everything got shut down, and each state did their own thing. Obviously, the country did its own thing, and so we jumped on that as quick as we could, and we rescheduled the event for the second week in July. And, that was our plan moving forward. Unfortunately, as we started to get closer to the date, we reached out to some of the sponsors, the competitors, and had some fans reach out to us and talk with us. And we ultimately ran into this kind of weird situation with the UCC and the DPI Expo. We have so many people from across the country that travel in, and from Canada and out of the country to come to the event. And we started running into unforeseen situations. As of today, we still don't know when the Canadian border was going to be open. When we talked with certain companies, depending on which state you were in, you had different restrictions. Some were lighter than others, and some were more intense, and shops had different things they had to deal with as far as shutting down. And so we also had sponsors that ran the same thing. So as we started kind of talking with them, we did get initial, we'll be there, but man, it's going to be really tough for us this year. And, after talking with a lot of people in the industry, we just felt that if we kept it in July, we could not put on the quality show that the UCC and DPI is famous for doing. And so we decided to push it back again, and we pushed it back to the 21st through the 23rd of 2021.
Wow.
I think it comes down to one of those of, like you said, if you want to have the show be what it is, if you want to have the quality, you got to have everybody. That's the whole appeal to Ultimate Callout Challenge, is that it's the entire country, it's Canada included, it's the entire North American diesel performance industry coming together in one event, right? Like, that's what it is. So if you want to have that, you can't have it with half the team, right? It doesn't work.
No. Yeah, and we had a couple of competitors that were out struggling getting parts in for their trucks. Obviously, some of the shops had shut down for quite a bit of time, and when we're talking, they're like, "Hey, we can be there, but I can't send my whole team." And with the Ultimate Callout Challenge, when you have one truck that's got a drag race dyno and sled pull, those guys are wrenching on those machines. A full team's wrenching on them almost 24/7. Right. And, it is a financial, there is a financial cost for the competitors and the vendors to get out there and to already have suffered what some people have had to suffer for the first part of the year. It just unfortunately just didn't make sense.
No, I think that's... Go ahead, Chris.
It's crazy to think about.
I was going to say,
Go on, you're good.
It's kind of wild to look at it in that light of it's a tough time economically for a lot of people in the industry. For the vendors, for the racers or the competitors, and even for just the people showing up. I know when we went to UCC, I was always amazed at how many people had traveled down from Canada or had traveled across the country to come and stay in a hotel in Indy for 3 nights, just to see the event, right? And it's this massive thing. And yeah, I couldn't imagine doing it at a smaller scale at this point.
Yeah,
especially when it's out of your control.
Yeah, and that's the thing is it was out of our control, and like I said, it was such a tough decision for us because since the country is, like I said, opening up at different times depending on where you're at. I mean, the state of Indiana by July 4th will be 100% open. So that was this is great. But right above them, you've got Michigan, and they're going to be at a different tier. In fact, even Washington State, they don't even start their phase 1 till this Monday coming up. This Monday coming up. So when you have every single state opening up at different times, and the border, they're not even going to discuss till the 15th of this month what they're going to do with Canada. It just left so many, not only the financial things with the companies, but so many uncertainties of like who could come, how could they be there, what's going to happen.
Sure. Well, let's talk about some of the logistics going forward. So this is where we're at. But one of the awesome parts about the Ultimate Callout Challenge, I think, is the qualifiers. So there's been this whole qualifier bracket invented, and now there's qualifying events to get into the qualifier bracket and to work your way up to be an invitee of Ultimate Callout Challenge. So what does that look like? Because some of the states, I'd imagine, are going to end up having some of the qualifier events in 2020. But there was already a class of qualifiers waiting, right? So how do you do this? Well, I guess it's kind of the same problem the school system has, right? Do you just overload next year's qualifying bracket?
Well, no, actually what we've done, and we kind of switched it for this year. So going into 2020, we actually weren't going to do the qualifier at the UCC.
Oh, wow.
One of the reasons why is, we in 19 we had a lot of guys come out and wanted to do the qualifier, and they were like, "Hey, I can qualify for the UCC." And when they showed up, we had, I want to say 18 to 20 people trying to qualify for the UCC. Well, after they kind of experienced really what it took to make one truck do those 3 different things, by the following year, we only had 8 people coming out to do the qualifier.
Wow.
And so what we've done is we've always been about how do we build the industry? How do we make it grow? So we get with ODSS, we get with King of the Streets, obviously the DPC, Diesel Power Challenge, and we start looking for those up-and-comers. And we've been just going back to more of the invite, but being a lot more open that if someone approaches us and is able to prove they have a vehicle and we have a spot, we're looking at giving them that shot, giving them that opportunity to come and compete with the veterans that we've had year after year and see where they measure up with them. So we've kind of made that adjustment. We had made that adjustment for this year and was obviously going to kind of move forward with that, but we've always used the UCC as, that's our big announcement time of, hey, we're going to do this change or this is going to happen. But the UCC never happened. So
sure. We run into it, right? So. Okay, that's interesting. I like the idea that it's a little bit exclusive to kind of get in. I know it. You have to open up the gates. God, I remember the first year back when you guys were in, was it Idaho?
Uh-huh.
And it was like, I think even here at the shop, I don't remember hearing about it until maybe 2 months before the event was happening. And it was like this underground thing that just kind of exploded overnight. And it was like, well, you had to call somebody, you had to know somebody, and then kind of building up to it. And I could definitely see where that field starts to thin out, because I do remember watching the qualifier event, and guys with a pretty streetable twin kit were trying to run through the bracket. And I'm like, man, that's just...
Oh yeah,
that might get you top 10, but you got to drive the truck home now, buddy. That's a rough weekend.
Yeah. Well, and where we wanted the UCC and the DPI Expo just to be that little bit different than anything's out there. That's where, and growing the industry, just on a side note, we had a lot of people, well, why don't you move it back to August? And I'm like, well, because there's already diesel events in August. And,
right.
When we picked the second week in July, we got with Greg at ODSS, and okay, we're 2 weeks after this one, and we're 2 weeks before this one. So we didn't step on any events that were going there. Well, with everything happened, everybody kind of tried to move their things back. And you're like, well, God, we could move to August, but, Scheid's got their event, and they're moving to a new location. And, man, that's just 2 big shows in Indiana. And while Indiana would love it, man, there's only so much people can do, and we were like, no, there's already events that are there, and we need to respect that. And so that's why it got bumped back further. Well, with that same concept, that's what we want to do with the UCC. We were going to try in 2020, and we definitely will in 2020. We want to come up with ways that we can allow the fans to participate more as well, but also see the top diesel trucks compete head to head, have ODSS's pro class out there, but one day open up the dyno, and then that guy that's driven out there in their truck, hey, I want to put my truck on the UCC dyno. I want to see what my numbers are compared to Derek Rose's, like on the exact same dyno, the exact same weekend, trying to get that more fan involvement and excitement, and have the best of the best year after year there.
I love
That's
that, man.
awesome.
I'm so excited for that. Chris, what do you think? Are you going to drive down to UCC next year in your truck and throw it on the same dyno as Derek Rose? Think
Probably
you can
not.
hold up?
Yeah, I don't think I can hold up. I'll make the same horsepower out of all 4 wheels as he does one. How about that?
That sounds right. Say, hey, what am I saying? All right, cool, man. Well, I'm really excited for that. What other changes or what other kind of surprises did you guys have in store, or maybe are already starting to plan for 2021?
Well, what we're trying to do with 2021 is we want to add to what we already had in place. Because obviously for us, we were 60 days out before the first move. So I was in the final stages of getting things, putting the dots and crossing the T's at that point. And then, we were about 60 days out when we moved it again. So what we're looking for 2021 is we really want to come out and try to make it twice as big, because we already had things set up. So we want to be able to use 2020 and the things that we didn't get to see this year. That's why we've talked about, hey, we're just going to postpone it, because we plan on bringing everything we are going to bring this year, next year. But we're going to add what we're planning on adding to 2021. So, we had got with Kenny Hawk and Hawk Designs, and they were doing a diesel rat rod build off, and we're still going to have those come out and have those unveiled. And I'll be honest with you, there's some crazy builds. They're not little trucks. There's nothing like an 18-wheel beer truck, an 18-wheeler beer truck that's a rat rod that holds 14 kegs of beer and has a giant hose.
That's my style.
Right, yeah. I mean, these guys went all out. Josh did a rat rod hauler. I'm thinking, man, we'll just diesel rat rod build off. They're going to grab some old trucks and throw a diesel motor in it. Man, it'll be kind of cool. No, these guys went to the extreme to do some really cool and different builds, and kind of add to it. Once again, we're going to have ODSS back there. We're looking at trying to figure out how we can do more sled pulls on Sunday and stuff like that. But those were all things we had already kind of had planned for 2021. And so we're just like, okay, we know we've got all this stuff lined up, ready to go. How do we just add on to it? And that's kind of our plan. We, obviously with this pushback, we've had all the vendors are like, yep, we're in.
Yeah.
Right.
And they're just like, yeah, just move it forward. We're there. Okay. No kickback from the industry whatsoever. Like,
I remember talking in a close circle with our company, and when we were originally still scheduled for July, it's like, man, how do we make this work? How do we make this work? And then, you come out and everything's getting postponed to 2021. Every wonder, worry in our camp that we had, I mean, that all went away. We're like, all right, this makes more sense. This is a lot more feasible. And, just because it's stressful for you guys, it's stressful for all the companies, it's stressful for everyone in something like that and how big it is.
Yeah. And we're trying to also, I know the fans are probably the most disappointed because the fans look at it and like, no, we just really want to go there. We've had nothing to do all summer, and you guys were going to be the first and after the fourth. And, we were like, yeah, but man, if we can't put on the show we used to, you guys aren't going to be happy. And so what we've done, and we've have it up on our site, and it's been a little bit difficult, is, if you pre-bought your tickets, so we took all the ticket sales down for right now, but if you had pre-bought your tickets to the UCC, we are offering a full refund up till the August 31st. But if you pre-bought your tickets and you keep your tickets, they will be good for 2021. But starting the first week of September and going the 32 weeks leading up to it, if you kept your tickets and you pre-bought them, you will be entered into an exclusive drawing each week, courtesy of Myers Distributing, and we'll be giving away swag and gift cards, for the whole 32 weeks leading up to it as a thank you. That's awesome. For, just holding on to those tickets.
That's really respectable. That's awesome. Then that gives all the guys that pre-bought tickets something to look forward to leading up to UCC 2021.
Yeah, and and one of the things, just talking about we first off, 100% thanks, to the competitors for understanding and their support, with this move. 100,000 times thanks to all our sponsors, but also thanks to the fans. I mean, we understand that this move, and I've obviously had some people request refunds on their tickets because it's too far out, or situations have changed and they need the money back right now. And, but in all, it's been such a small percentage of people asking for refunds. Like, I'm amazed at how many people are still holding on to their tickets for 2021. And, personally, from me and from the team here, we just want to say thanks. It's one of those ways that fans show that they appreciate what we do. I mean, hold on to your ticket that you bought September of 2019 all the way till the event in 2021. Like, dude, I don't know how else you can say, hey, guys, thanks for what you do, and thank you for putting on this event. And we appreciate it, and we recognize it.
Absolutely. Hey, can we talk real quick about the competitors getting ready for UCC? Chris, every year we call around and we interview a ton of competitors right before UCC, and we usually start around December. We start hunting them down, and then by May, we get the last few guys. I don't think we've ever talked to a competitor while their truck was completed and ready. Ever. I think we've only interviewed guys over the phone before UCC and the truck was still in pieces and they were wondering if they were going to hit the deadline. Tony Burkhart named his truck last minute hooker because literally we talked to him, I think, 3 days before UCC, and I don't know if the engine was in it at that point. I don't think it was. Yeah, and that's the same story across every competitor we've talked to, right? Is everybody's in that same boat. Now they have a whole extra year to plan. Are we going to start maybe a pool going on who's still not going to finish the truck until 3 days before UCC?
I mean, come on, Paul.
I'm not sure. That's the great thing about our competitors. I'm sure if you've hopped on social media, you've already seen that the trash talking for 2021 has already begun again.
Oh yeah.
Power driven diesel definitely started stirring the pot, and it's great. That's the camaraderie of the industry, and I don't know. I think, like you said, as hard as it was to make that decision, you guys talked about how are we going to get there. The competitors were the same way. How are we going to do this? We need to do this. We want to support this. But man, there's so many hurdles in front of us. by us moving this, as much as it sucked and as hard as it was, I think everybody was able to step back and take that deep breath and was able to say, okay, we got this. Now we can do this, and we're going to put on a bigger, badder show in 2021. I think it just gave everybody that sigh of relief. So I think it's really going to help everybody out. I do. I think that extra year is going to help them to really fine tune some stuff. I honestly, I don't know if any truck's ever going to be 100% ready. I think these guys, I think they're constantly like, I've got a better idea.
Agree.
Wait, I know how we can get 2 more horsepower. I know how we can do it.
I think
tear it all down.
To back up what you're saying, Chris, I mean, everyone that is a contender in this are also in their own state under some type of a lockdown, or just now getting released and being able to do their day-to-day stuff. So as drag strips open, there's going to be sled pulls along around at some point in time. These guys are going to go out, they're going to test and tune, they're going to see what works, what doesn't. So Paul, I bet that we're going to interview these competitors next year, and it's going to be all the same shit.
What I wonder, though, and what I'm hoping to see is we talked for a long time about 3,000 rear wheel horsepower. We haven't seen it, but every year we've pushed closer and closer, and we keep edging closer and closer to this insane number that just got thrown out there years ago, right? And I wonder what the gap is going to be when we look at like final peak horsepower and torque numbers from 2019 to 2021. I wonder if we're going to see a huge jump. I wonder if we're going to see a big drop in the fastest time, right? Like who's going to run the best ET. I wonder if we're going to see the sled pull. I mean, I know we saw, it's funny you brought up power-driven diesel. Yeah. I know a few years ago we saw power-driven diesel damn near take out a tree at the end of the track because they were going for the cornfield. I wonder if we got to move the start of the sled pull track back. You know what I mean? Like how much further is this going to push it? Because I'm with you, Chris. I 100% agree. People will be finishing their builds a week before. And it's not because they're not working on it. It's exactly like you said. It's because they're out testing it, figuring out, like 2 more horsepower, a little bit bigger turbo. Like, right. Should I just polish the cover? You know how it goes. Like, any excuse to turn around.
Yep. All right. Well, and what's also, and I think what's also nice is that UCC, historically has been the first weekend in May. Now that we have it towards the end of May, I mean, that gives all the guys, at least for us in the Midwest, we know what it's like to come out of winter into spring and how hit or miss springs can be. And I mean, there's no secret. I mean, anyone that's gone to the UCC in prior years, there's been some wild, crazy Midwest spring weather. So I think extending it to the end of May, that's smart. It also gives all the competitors a couple more weeks to, fine tune their trucks, or maybe that's the motivation to get the trucks together to test and tune prior. Who knows?
Chris Searle, any final thoughts that you wanted to share with our listeners?
Just once again, we appreciate everyone from our vendors and our sponsors to our competitors to the fans. We just appreciate everyone, and we try every day, just like you guys, to do our best. And over the last couple months, we've tried, like everyone, to figure out what the hell's going on day to day. And while we know this decision was, frustrating to some, we just feel that it really puts us in a position to put on a amazing show in 2021 by pushing this back and get it to the quality that we're all used to seeing at the UCC. And the only thing I would say is, at fans, if a local track's open and it's a small sled pull or it's a big sled pull, support the industry through the rest of the summer and in the fall, and be out there for the shops and show your support.
Good call, man. Great stuff. Good words there. We're going to end it. Guys, for today, this has been Paul Wilson.
And Chris Hemke.
Thanks for listening.
Nothing like an 18-wheel beer truck, an 18-wheeler beer truck that's a rat rod that holds 14 kegs of beer and has a giant hose.
That's my style.